Yeah, that'll totally lose the effect, but let's try to capture just how fucking cool it is to have Splatterhouse in a cab finally. Just in the dark, since it's a table, you know, the monitor is completely flat, so it just, you know, the light just bounces off in the air, it reflects off my curtain, which I'm sure you can't really see so well on the camera, but in person it just looks so cool. And a couple of that with the awesome sound. Yeah, I made a video about, you know, I put Splatterhouse in my very first Supergun video when I first got my Supergun, but I hooked it up to the cab today and just, Splatterhouse deserves its own video, because it's fucking Splatterhouse, but just, fantastic game, and the Supergun didn't do it justice. Not just with the monitor, but the sound. Now, this was a game, you know, back in Japan, these kind of old woody tables like I've got were pretty much the normal for most of the 80s. You know, upright cabs in Japan really didn't get popular until the Candies came out, and that wasn't until, you know, the early 90s. So these old 18-inch tables were the norm, and that's what a lot of these games were designed for. And since this cab only has a 3-inch speaker in it, but being that it's pretty much a wooden box, the whole thing kind of acts like a giant, you know, wooden speaker box. And when you couple that with Splatterhouse's amazing sound hardware, even by today it sounds incredible. It's just, seriously, it just blows you away in person. This game just comes over and says, play me, fucking play me now, or I'm gonna stab you in the back. Just, oh, incredible. I cannot do a recording of how good, you know, it really is. I've got a crappy camera, and, you know, it's dark in here, but the sound is just, to me, that's one of the reasons I'll always keep this board. You know, Splatterhouse is good stuff. Like, you know, a lot of people complain about the PC Engine port's graphics, but for me, the big problem with that port is the sound. It just doesn't sound anywhere as cool as the arcade. And the arcade, like, if you've seen some of my old videos, I actually did a One Life clear on hard capture. But that, of course, was done through a Supergun and, you know, recorded on a DVD recorder. And due to the softening of the sound done by the Supergun for an average TV, it's just not the same. So, I'm doing this video in reverse order. I'll show you the board when I'm done, but let's just pop a credit in. And this is going to be hard to record because, you know, it's kind of it's a 90-degree table, but it's more about the sound anyway. So I'm just going to throw this at an angle and pick it up at, you know, the cooler sounding parts. Let's go, Rick. So yeah, you probably won't see much, but this truly is a game of atmosphere. The graphics were amazing for its time, but to me it's the sound that keeps me coming back. If you play this on like an emulator, you're just not going to get the same effect. You need a good old school wooden sound system. I mean, the board itself even has separate adjusters for the volume, bass, and treble. You can tell Namco really put a lot of effort into it. I mean, it's standard for, you know, System 1 hardware, but I put it here. Well, here I only really need a hand. Oops, except for these. Go one-handed. game that it is not a challenge at all anymore. I've got it so well memorized I can just skirt through it whenever I want, but it's still just fun to play through, mainly because having this hooked up in the dark is just insane. But yeah, man. I know a lot of people are looking forward to the new Splatterhouse because it's actually supposed to, you know, have probably a ROM of this. But, well, I'm sure, you know, it won't look so hot because it'll probably be, you know, filtered at least. But more than that, there's no fucking way it's ever going to replace having it in a cab. The sound just won't be right. I mean, it sounded great in a Super Gun, but so much better on the actual arcade sound system here. Which, again, is just a 3-inch mono speaker. Like, alright, this part. Listen to that. So cool. Just that echo. It really feels, it just surrounds you. Like, it almost sounds like you know, almost like surround sound, because I can feel it echoing off the wall behind me, but it's totally mono. You know, a lot of people will tell you the game has great sound, but if you haven't played this on an actual cab, you're not getting the real thing. So, I'll admit, this is a pretty expensive board to get these days, but just do it, man. It's fucking Splatterhouse. I mean, the only real complaint is the replayability isn't really that great, just because once you can get through the game, you can always get through the game, and yeah, my only real complaint is that there really isn't any kind of scoring incentive, because you can only play one loop of the game, no matter what you do. It always ends at the end. And the problem with that, of course, is that it comes down that if you want to get a high score, your best bet is to, well, basically get to the baby spawn level and just die and waste all your lives over and over again. Because even the very final of the game, there's only one thing you can actually hurt, which is the boss. The rest of it's just dodging. Die, doggies. Bam. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, you probably can't see much right now, but if you want to see what Splatterhouse looks like, go watch my older vids. I think most people do know Splatterhouse by now. Die, biggie man. Well, anyway, I think that's about enough of the game, because I can't beat the whole game in 15 minutes. And this is technically supposed to be a hardware vid. So, let's just boil. Alright. Yeah, let's let the game kill me. Turn the light on here. I have left the bezel up. The colors, as you can see, will get a bit brighter. Almost too bright. Actually, it's quite nice to put down. Alright, I'm just going to flip you off. And yeah, so this is Namco System 1, which the board is down here. Let me just take it out for a sec. So yeah, here's the lighting here kind of sucks, doesn't it? Turn the other light on, that might help. Yeah, I don't really feel like pulling the harness off it right now. But yeah, Namco System 1, it's a fairly large board, and that's the main PCB is on the top, and on the bottom it has a smaller one. Which, if you want a better look at the board, take a look at my old Sigma Supergun review where I show it in the other room, which is a lot better lighting. So yeah, that's the board. Good old standard gem though. Put you back in. Nice and easy. And I only have copy art, unfortunately, but the game itself is pretty rare and hard to get, so just getting a board is not easy today, especially the Japanese version, which, well, that's all you'll find in Japan, really. But Splatterhouse was definitely a rare arcade game in all regions. However, they do tend to come up for sale fairly often, just because it is a game that once you figure out how to beat it, it just comes down to how much you love it if you're actually going to bother playing through it again, because it does get fairly repetitive. In my opinion, it's the kind of game I can just keep playing over and over again without any problems, but your mileage may vary, and it is fairly expensive. But and even, if you crank up the difficulty, all it really does is it changes your starting health. So, yeah, it's interesting, because if you play the top open, you're breaking open the wooden box. So it doesn't sound as good. This game's really just meant to be enclosed in wood. If I close the cover, it sounds so much better. Well, but yeah, repetitive, but in a fun way, and I don't think I'll ever be able to play this on a Supergun again. This game it deserves to be, cab. And I love candies, but good old Woody. That's what this game's for. Well, this is just a quick one, mainly because I've actually had a cold all week, so I couldn't talk very well. But enjoy it. See you next time.